What's up, guys? This is the Gospel According to Mark with a C. He is I and I am he. Just taking some time to tell you exactly what's on my mind. Thank you for joining me once again, my friends. I hope all is well with you. Now, guys, today we are going to talk about actress Jodie Turner-Smith. What? Jodie Turner-Smith. Chicka Jodie Turner-Smith. Yes, Jodie Turner-Smith. And Jodie Turner-Smith seems to find herself going through a bit of a turbulent time in her life. First, she unfortunately went through a divorce with her husband, Dawson's Creek star Joshua Jackson, last year. All right, that marriage ended in divorce, so I imagine it's not an easy time for her. But the good news is she landed a great, cushy, high-profile job working on The Acolyte on Disney Plus. Star Wars, Lucasfilm, doesn't get any better than that, except for the fact that the show was terrible and ended up being justifiably canceled. But just like Amanda Stenberg and just about every other person who was involved in that show, she's having a hard time letting go. It's so hard to say goodbye to the Acolyte. And they've been lashing out at all the wrong people, the fans. Everybody is to blame except for the show's actual low viewership. Usually, when a show gets canceled due to low viewership, it means that the general audience just wasn't liking the show. This is not the first show in the history of television to be canceled, but for some reason, the vitriol, the venom that's being aimed at the fans is just overwhelming. So I want to get into what Jodie Turner-Smith had to say about this, because there's a few things I think that she's overlooking that I want to offer some clarity on, as only I can. So let's start off with the quote, what she said here. Now, she played one of the leaders of the witches in The Acolyte. You know, the power of one, the power of two, the power of many. You know, that was her. She's going to live in infamy about that. But she also blasts Disney. She blasts Disney for their lack of response. Now, what is she talking about there? Now, I might agree with her there a little bit on some level, but let's see what she had to say. Let's start with the quote. Jodie Turner-Smith says, "They've got to stop doing this thing where they don't say anything when people are getting fucking dogpiled on the internet with racism and bullshit." Jodie said in regards to Disney's lack of response to the Acolyte's reception, "It's just not fair to not say anything. It's really unfair." All right, so Jodie Turner-Smith seems to be under the mistaken belief that Disney and Lucasfilm never said anything about so-called toxic fandom and the unfairness of the stars or the participants in these things being dogpiled on. Now, of course, Jodie Turner-Smith, you're new here. Those of us who have been here for a while, we know that Disney and Lucasfilm did some little half-ass thing where they came out and they said that there's no place for racism in this fandom. If you're a racist, you can't be involved with this at all. Remember, they had Ewan McGregor come out when Moses Ingram was claiming that she was being bombarded with all of these racist messages. You remember Moses Ingram, I gotta do it. There are people right outside the window. Yeah, I can yell like you can. But anyway, so yeah, they actually did do this, guys. I mean, actually, the whole mainstream media has been weaponized against the fandom for years now, Jodie Turner-Smith. But for some reason, because it's you, now you're crying. Okay, so all I can say to you about that is welcome to the party, pal. All right, so she goes on to say, let's see, what else did she say here? It would just be nice if the people that have all the money, whether that be Disney or any studio, were showing their support and putting their feet down. Turner-Smith continued, I want you to say, this is unacceptable. You're not a fan if you do this. Of course, they did that already. Jodie Turner-Smith is what we're talking about, okay? But, of course, she doesn't know. You know, she's just showing her ignorance here, just like everybody else. Say this is unacceptable. You're not a fan if you do this. Make a really big statement and just see if any money leaves. I bet you it won't, because people of color, especially black people, make up a very large percentage of the buying power. They might find it is actually more lucrative for them but everyone's using woke like it's a dirty word. Whoa, hold on a second. Now, Jodie Turner-Smith, what you're implying here is that black people can make up for, like, it would have to be all of us now. I mean, like, all of us are even involved in this. Historically speaking, you know, the overwhelming majority of Star Wars fans have probably been white males. But what you're saying is that risking alienating white men from the fan base is something that Disney might not mind risking. It might be worth it because you feel like black people with our spending power will somehow make up for that. You sound stupid, Jodie. I'm sorry. You just do. All right. First of all, this fandom has always been united. We've always been a union of geeks and nerds and sci-fi people who love this stuff, regardless of color, regardless of gender. It just kind of worked out that way, that it was mostly white men because it's mostly white men who were creating it. That's the way it was. All right. So your argument, once again, something I've been saying now for the better part of 10 years, your argument should be encouraging more black creators to get into the field, encouraging our kids instead of discouraging them from by telling them things like, you don't have a place here, you're not safe here. The argument should be, you do have a place here, you've always had a place here. Now get to work in creating and create something of real quality so all people can get involved in this, all people can share this, because that's what it's supposed to be about. It's supposed to be about joining. But people like Jodie Turner-Smith, you don't understand that, which is ironic considering that she was in an interracial marriage for something like 4 or 5 years. You know what I mean? You were married to Pacey from Dawson's Creek. It doesn't get any whiter than that, Jodie. It just doesn't. So, using your mentality, your reasoning here, all right, when Joshua Jackson left you, or when your marriage broke up for whatever reason, you know, somebody from the outside looking in could say he left you because you were black, and you're a beautiful black woman, beautiful, dark skin, like, mwah, you look great, right? But they could say he left you because you're black. He's a racist. Joshua Jackson is a racist. He left you because you're black, all right? Because that's basically what you're doing. Your show failed because of the racists. You could say that your marriage failed because of the racists, except for the fact that Joshua Jackson is now with the lovely Lupita Nyong'o. All right. So he bounced back with another beautiful dark-skinned black woman. All right. So the racism thing doesn't work here in much the same way as the fandom that you're trying to paint as racist. They just didn't like your show. It just didn't work for whatever reason. They divorced themselves from their show, much the same way that you and Joshua Jackson divorced yourselves from each other, and then he went somewhere else. And it didn't make him a racist. It didn't make him hateful. The love was just gone, guys. It was just gone. And then he found his love somewhere else. All right. In much the same way that you'll find a lot of fans of Star Wars watching something like House of the Dragon, which is very much diverse. But you don't see this type of thing going on there. You see, it's just a matter of your story just did not resonate. Your story was just not one that people liked. Thus, the low viewership. That's all there is to it. You can't make a civil rights movement out of something like a show being canceled. But she goes on to say, opinions change. What's in vogue changes, she added. We're going to get there at some point, to that place where people stop having a stick up their arse about people of color being part of an IP or IPs that were created by white people. You know why? She asks. Because we're never going to fucking stop participating. Okay, all right, so she's making some big grandstand about this, right? Where she's saying that even though the IPs are created by white people, right? Her narrative is going to continue to be that people just don't like seeing black people in these IPs, right? But we're never going to stop participating, she says. Well, you might, Jodie Turner-Smith, because you were fired, okay? But unfortunately, this is not helping, guys. And I said that I kind of agree with her where she's coming from, only because she's targeting Disney in her criticism. Yes, she's also targeting the fans because she's being short-sighted. But Jodie Turner-Smith, let me help you out a little bit. You're almost there. Okay, you're almost there. When you say that Disney is somewhat at fault here, I 100% agree with you on that, because what you haven't figured out yet is that you did exactly what Disney hired you to do. You served as a shield, a black human shield, for Disney to hide behind while they try all of these little new things that they do as far as pushing LGBTQ concerns or feminist concerns or things like that. They always do that behind the guise of black people. They put you out front. That's actually what you were hired for. You did your job, and now that it's failed, they can hang that on you. They can hang that on black people. And unfortunately, the weaker minds that are out there within the fandom, they see that and they say, yeah, it's the participation that you're talking about when you say we're never going to fucking stop participating. It's that participation that they resent, because all it represents is failure at this point. Every time they say, or every time they see diversity, and inclusion, they see failure. Because that's what Disney put out there. They never invested in you guys in the first place, which is the reason why you saw John Boyega be shrunk down on the poster in China, which is the reason why they shrank down Kelly Marie Tran's role in The Rise of Skywalker. You know what I mean? They don't believe in these things. You heard Thandiwe Newton say this too. They killed the very first black leading lady they had in Star Wars. Unceremoniously. She said that. It's about time that you guys started buying a clue. I keep saying the same thing. I feel like a broken record. That's probably the reason why it takes me so long between videos, because I just hate repeating myself. But this is what's going on, So yes, I agree with you. Disney is or should be held accountable for what's going on. As far as the Acolyte, as far as the Marvels, Nia DaCosta said the same thing. She felt like she was thrown under the bus. They're not really investing in black talent or black. It's all about show. That's all it is. It's performative. I did a video before where I was talking about, there was a study that said basically what they're doing with all this diversity, equity, and inclusion is strictly performative. That's all it is. There's no substance behind it, right? But because the weak people out there like you, who can only go so far with your analysis of this, because of people like you who are out there, you troll the other weak-minded people who are within the fandom, who tend to see all of this and process it and take this as black people are ruining everything. You know what I mean? So in a way, Disney is devious. They're mischievous, because I believe this is what they're really doing. And unfortunately, I told you guys years ago when I first started doing these videos that all of this is deeper than Star Wars. It goes further than Star Wars, because you see it being mirrored in our politics, in our government. You have people like Hillary Clinton. You have people like Kamala Harris who are saying that they want to clamp down on the voices of opposition on social media. They want to regulate so-called misinformation, even though both of them routinely lie, among others. I'm not just pointing them out, but there's so much lying going on. Who gets to define what is misinformation? Who gets to define what is toxic fandom? I say the people have a right to say how they feel. The people have a right to have a voice. Right? Anytime you put something out there, whether it's a TV show or a movie or a song or whatever, your customers have the right to say how they feel about what you expect them to pay money for. That's all there is to it. So unfortunately, Jodie Turner-Smith doesn't understand that, and we are going to continue to go round and round on this crazy ride, man. I've been wanting to I want to get off on this thing. Not that way, but I've been wanting to get off of this ride for a while. But unfortunately, you have to check these things whenever they come up, because there are so many people who are misunderstanding this. They're taking it for something that it isn't. The fandom is not better off for what's been going on with this. We're being misunderstood, we're being mischaracterized, and then you have things like this. So every now and then I like to inject a little bit of common sense as I see it into the situation. But guys, you can get in the comment section and let me know how you feel about Jodie Turner-Smith's comments. Do you see, or do you agree with what I'm saying? Do you agree with what she's saying? Feel free to get in the comment section and let me know, guys. I mean, this Acolyte thing, man, I have never seen anything like this before. You would really think this is the first show that ever got canceled. But once again, we are utilizing the black mask of failure, which is the reason why you're seeing this type of thing happen, guys. So anyway, thank you guys for listening. As always, you can get in the comment section, you can like, you can share, you can subscribe, and of course feel free to donate to the channel through the super thanks feature on each and every one of my videos. I really do appreciate it. You know, YouTube doesn't promote me at all, and I will catch you on the next one. This is the Gospel According to Mark with a C. Rock on.